Hi guys, so today I am back to talk about a subject that is near and dear to my heart. A subject that quite frankly had a lot of people going, hmm? And that is why I really left home. So in order to really delve deep and get into this story, I would have to go back to a time when I was 18 years old and at a time when I was a senior in high school. Now, up until this time, I had pretty much had planned out what I was going to do with my life, where I was going to go. Even the type and the high school in which I attended was already in the works before I even applied to that high school. So my senior year in high school, it was already planned out and it was already intended for me to go to a college, a Catholic Jesuit college, right down the street from my high school. And I was going to stay in town. I was going to stay local, and everything was going to be planned out. I knew exactly what I wanted to major in. I knew I wanted to attend the business school portion, and everything was planned out and set and ready to go. Well, my senior year in high school, I decided, scratch that. I don't actually want to stay here. I want to move away. I actually want to go away to college. So I decided pretty kind of last minute to go away to college. Now I stayed in my same state, but I was like 5.5 hours away from home. So far enough away that I couldn't easily just come back home every weekend. And when they ask you, who do you want to be your roommate? Do you want to have a choice, first, second, or third choice? I said, I don't want any choices. I didn't want to know anyone that I roomed with. I didn't want anything familiar. I really just wanted to get away, have new experiences with new people. So who they ended up rooming me with or pairing me with was a young lady by the name of Kelly. Kelly was actually perfect. She was polar opposite of me. I was a city girl. She was from a farm, actually still was living on a farm. But when we met, we immediately clicked. We got along. We had such an awesome time. I brought her home to St. Louis to visit my family and friends. She took me back to her town, and I met her family and friends. It was amazing. I mean, they actually still lived on a farm where they grew all of their own vegetables. They had chickens. It was amazing. I knew then that I probably wanted to be a vegetarian. Anyway, I digress. So then I already knew I wanted to get away. I wanted new experiences. I stayed there and I got the experiences all right, and I got them right away. I mean, boyfriend trouble, being in a relationship that was not good for me to be in. I mean, I got it all. But the experiences I had with my roommate were absolutely wonderful. I loved it. So I only stayed there for about 1.5 years, and then I came back home to St. Louis. Once I came back home, I went back to the plan, and I went to the university that was already intended for me to go to. I went to that university. I graduated from that university. I met my my first child. I met her dad there at university. We graduated. Everything was great, wonderful. And I was at home and I was doing everything that I thought was the right thing to do. But still there was something in me that was like, I wanted to branch out, and I wanted to do more, and I wanted to experience new things. Later on, I went through a divorce and I was single. And I had been single before this remarriage. I had been single for about 5.5 years. So in that 5.5 years, I got to explore and experience and meet a whole lot of interesting characters, to say the least. But during that time in which I was single, I still wasn't that far from my original home where I actually grew up from. I was like maybe 3 or 4 minutes down the road. So I was still in that same area. And I was single, and everything was going great. I had started a business. My business was flourishing. Everything was wonderful. I had family all around me, close by, and where the lease had expired, it was up. And I needed to make a decision whether or not I was going to buy the house that I was currently living in or whether I was going to go ahead and move on. Well, the house that I was living in, I wasn't committed to it, and I really did not and was not interested in purchasing that house. So it just so happened to be at that time I started dating someone. I remember when he came to my area where I lived, and here, this area where I lived, the actual community itself, the little neighborhood itself, was about half and half as far as black and white. But the surrounding areas were predominantly black. I remember a time when I realized that I didn't even want to go to the grocery stores in that area, or I would drive far out to hang out or go to social affairs and things like that, because they're just really, I really just wasn't comfortable with the surrounding areas of my neighborhood. But within my actual neighborhood, it was really nice. So when it came time for my lease to end, I needed to make a decision. It just so happened that that coincided with the time in which I started dating a white guy. It was my first actual dating experience with a white guy. I had met plenty online. I had went out on one dates, and things just, they just didn't shake out too well. But at the time I was actually dating a white guy. And I never forget when he came into my area that I thought was pretty nice. I remember him saying to me, well, yeah, your actual neighborhood is nice, but the surrounding area, not so much so. He was opening my eyes up to different areas and places to live. And he was asking me whether or not I knew about this area that was about 30 or 40 minutes away from where I was currently living, which was predominantly white. And I said, you know what? No, I really hadn't thought of that. But looking back, if I'm completely honest, I remember I was actually thinking, no, you don't actually go out there and live, because it's just pretty much all white, and you're going to completely be out of your comfort zone, and this sort of thing. And so I was kind of apprehensive at first. And then I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and just venture out and look at some of the houses out there and see what they have to offer. Well, of course, immediately when I got out there, I arrived, I completely fell in love, and I wanted to move out there immediately, and that's exactly what I did. And so I moved out of the area that I grew up in. And I'm an adult, but I had moved out of the area that I had grew up in and really kind of moved into foreign, new territory. And once I moved out there, the house was gorgeous. Oh, beautiful, completely adored it, loved this house. Everyone 2 and 3 streets over were 2-parent households. And I thought, wow, I really want that. And I really want that for my son too. So it was wonderful. It was a great house. It was an absolutely fabulous upscale neighborhood. I thought, I've arrived. I have the cars. I have the fabulous house. I have a flourishing business. I live in an upscale, wonderful area now. No disturbances. You're not going to hear police cars driving up and down the street or anything like that. I thought everything was fine. But as the days went on, I started to realize it was kind of lonely, that I really did yearn to have that relationship, that 2-parent household environment. And although this house was wonderful, it was large, and it was just Gary and I. And I thought, wow, you can have a really big house and yet still be so empty. So I remember thinking to myself, I'm going to seriously date and seriously look for my partner, and the person that I want to share this with, that I want to share my life with, that I want to share my personality and who I am. I want to share all of that with someone. And so it just so happened that I met my current husband online. A lot of people were shocked by this. Not that I did online dating, but simply shocked that I think they thought, hey, you have it all. You have everything. What is it that why would you feel like you need to get a mate? Or why do you feel like you need to get married? You already have it all. But I think what people don't realize is you don't really have it all when you don't have someone to share it with. You don't really have it all when you don't have that companion to sit down with and talk to at the end of your day. That person who has undying loyalty to you. That person who completely supports you no matter what. That person who can tell you when you're wrong, but then support you no matter what and help you figure it out. I didn't have that. And so when I found it, immediately when I met my husband, I knew he was the one. The minute we started having Skype conversations and we started talking about the things that we wanted to do in life and where we wanted to go and parenting and things like this, we were on the same page. But he was white. No one ever actually said you can't date a white person, it's against the rules, you can't do that. But it was certainly implied. And I do remember at times when I was single during that period, I remember having different family members saying, well, maybe you need to lower your standards. Maybe the type of guy that you want, you're asking too much. Which, to be honest, I wasn't asking very much at all. To be gainfully employed, to have respect for me, to be loyal to me, to love me and my child, to be a provider, to be a protector. I wasn't asking for anything that most women don't ask for or want out of a man. But yet, these people were telling me, you need to take some of that off the plate. Still reduce your standards even lower and lower. And you'll find someone out there, I'm sure, as long as they're black. My husband wasn't black, and I knew this was going to be a problem. So I went ahead and I followed my gut. I knew this was the person. Beside what color his skin was, I knew this was the person. We talked for days endlessly. We talked all the time. We talked all through the night. We fell asleep on the phones with each other. It was absolutely perfect. I knew that this was the one. This is what I had been looking for. So when it came time for me to announce my engagement, I thought I'd do it in a very creative way. I thought that I would send out a group text message and it would be very creative the way we were going to announce this engagement. But quite frankly, it did not go over well. It did not. Everyone had their own agenda as to why I shouldn't get married, why I shouldn't move, everything. I mean, I got called so many names, even flat out just stupid. But what my family and friends didn't realize was when I moved from my neighborhood a year and a half prior to my engagement, even then, I knew I wanted something different. I knew what I wanted. I was committed to what I wanted. A lot of people had their eyebrows up saying, hey, why is she doing that? Why is she doing this? Why doesn't she give this person a chance? Why doesn't she allow time to give that person a chance? And what they didn't realize is I didn't need to spend a whole lot of time dating people and going through the ups and downs because I knew exactly what I wanted. So during those 5.5 years when I was dating people, if they did things or had different actions or just, maybe it was a liar, maybe they were a cheater, whatever it was, if I detected it, if I acknowledged it, if I realized it, early on, I immediately cut it. I cut the relationship, and I walked away and did not turn back. Why? Because I knew exactly what I wanted in a relationship. I had taken time, I had sat down, I had looked in the mirror and asked myself some really tough questions, things that they were not there for, things that they didn't know about, but I knew about. I knew exactly what I wanted. And what they didn't know is that when I saw in my husband what I knew I wanted, I knew he was the one. They didn't. Everyone had their own agenda of why I should stay home, why I shouldn't move. Maybe you should think about it a little longer. Maybe you should wait. And I said to myself, for this past year and a half, when I moved out into this community, far away from where I grew up, far away from all of my family, I had that year and a half to really sit and contemplate and ask myself, what do I want? And when I found what I wanted, there was no stopping me. I was not going to let anyone get in my way. I knew back that 18-year-old girl who yearned to move away, to have new experiences, to meet new people, to break out of the norm of her family routines. She was still there. She was still there, and she was still ready to jump. She was still ready to go out and learn new things, even as a full-grown adult. And that's exactly what I did. Despite what they had to say, despite what the negative comments they may have had, I still decided I am going to leave. I'm going to leave, and I'm going to start this new journey. And I'm going to start this new journey with the man that I love, with the man that loves me and my child, with the man who wants to be my protector, my producer, my everything, my companion, my best friend. And so I say all of this for anyone out there who is thinking about moving away from home, be it traveling abroad, be it moving out of your neighborhoods that you're familiar with, moving out of your city, moving out of your state, going across country. I say this to you. Know what you want. Know what experiences you want to have. And know that it is your life to live. No one else's. Do not live for your mother. Do not live for your sister or brothers. Do not live for your cousins or family. Live for you. They have their lives to live. And they've either lived them already or they're still living them. But your experiences are yours and yours alone. Don't allow anyone to make you feel hesitant, to make you feel, oh, I should stay here to take care of this person, or I should stay here to take care of this family member. No, you have one life to live. Live it. All right, you guys, I just wanted to talk to you all about that today. I hope, if anything, someone is able to gain some knowledge from this video and is able to move forward if they're stuck in a place, if they're at a crossroads and they're wondering, should they take that jump? Should they take that risk? Think about it, think it through, make your decision, and then take a chance. You never know what you'll find out there. I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.